Hello, welcome to Smash Hit Sports. I'm Cody, that's Nick, and we had an unbelievable weekend of college hoops. It seems like everybody in the AP Top 25 lost, except for Duke and Auburn, but we have a ton to talk about. We are going to talk through Saturday, talk through a contender list. We're going to do a tier ranking, and then we will do our game previews as always. Before we get into it, make sure to follow, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Hit that like button if you're watching on YouTube so you don't miss a thing. We are closing in on 600 subs, which is huge, Nick. But even bigger than that is just this weekend and really this whole week of college hoops was incredible. It was incredible top to bottom.
Yeah. I mean, it's every week at this point, Cody. This is why this is the most beautiful sport in the world. And I don't think it'll ever change. The competitive balance is unbelievable. You can have teams like Auburn and Duke that are just otherworldly good. And you still have so much that matters, and it feels like it matters. There are the Pitt Wake Forest game, two teams that aren't really even close to being ranked, and that game mattered just as much as Houston, Texas Tech. That's the beauty of this sport, in my opinion. And yeah, there's a lot to talk about, really.
Cool. It may have cut out a little bit there, so we might have to do some sneaky editing. But yeah, dude, it was a great weekend, great slate. Everything from, like we talked about Tuesday was Tennessee, Kentucky. Kentucky, won that game. But then you have like Purdue, Indiana going down to the wire. You have Arkansas, who's really kind of out of the SEC race, going and winning in Cal's return to Kentucky. It was scenes. Like in college basketball, Kansas blowing an incredible lead. Like they had a huge lead on Baylor.
Same as Gonzaga or New Mexico, Utah State.
Yeah.
The battle for the Mountain West. New Mexico blew out Utah State. No one saw that coming. St. Mary's won in a close one against Gonzaga. Yeah, it's like even watching Duke UNC, which was, probably number one on the must-watch list and shouldn't have been, still entertaining seeing North Carolina just getting shit pumped by this God squad in Duke. It was fantastic. I mean, what else did Oklahoma, I think, was down by double digits at half to Vanderbilt.
Yeah,
and then they won by like 30.
Yeah.
They outscored Vanderbilt like 65-20 in the second half.
Yeah. Texas Tech Houston was seeing that game going into overtime. It truly every day this week.
Illinois.
Yes, that game going into OT.
And then Nebraska beat beat Oregon yesterday on Sunday. So Nebraska, as of right now, went from not really that close to being in to they are in my bracketology. Because all it takes in the Big Ten is you beat Oregon on the road and Illinois, and it's like, well, I'll be darned. They are very good. They deserve a spot. They're an 11 seed for me.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely insane. One thing I want to get off my chest. Huge week for rivalries in college hoops because you had the Indiana, Purdue, the Duke, North Carolina, but you also had Arizona and Arizona State. And I want to talk Bobby Hurley, what the fuck? Because you are going to sit in your press conference as a head coach in the Big 12 conference and sit here and talk down to Caleb Love in a game where both coaches agreed to not shake hands after the game, to not do, because it was so tense, which I love rivalries, don't get me wrong. But for you to go and trash a college basketball player as a coach at the podium after the game in which you lost is a shit look. You look like a fraud, scumbag, loser. And I get it. I'm glad rivalries mean something, but that is a soft look from Bobby Hurley.
Yeah, it is. This is what I was saying right before we started recording, is that I absolutely love the existence of it. I think we talked about this after Ohio State, Michigan, where there was just so much chaos and a lot of media moguls were like, this is pathetic and no one should ever act out like this. There's pepper spray. Like, this is code red. We need to do something. No, we do not need to do something about it. I love that happens. But because it happens, we then get to call you a soft-ass bitch for doing it. We get to call you, like, that's the beauty of it. But the passion being there, the drama, the care, super important for, especially in college sports. So yeah, I Like, thank you, Bobby Hurley. But yeah, you are. Like, that was a soft thing to say. And it doesn't mean I like you, but I will thank you. It's an interesting world.
Nick, you want to just get right into the tier talk? Because I think we could go
Let's do
on
tier
this
talk,
for this
Cody.
a little bit.
Let's
Let's
go
do
tier
some
talk.
tier talks. Nick and I are we're gonna try a little something with you. I'm gonna share my screen and we are going to go through a tier list. This is as of right now, so we're recording this on February 3rd. Things are obviously subject to change, but we want to tier these college basketball teams this year. We have for those listening on the audio, here are our tiers, which this is a good reminder, go subscribe to the YouTube because you get to watch. But we have God tier, contenders, great, sneaky, badass, mega ass, and Washington Wizards. So those are our tiers. Those are our tiers. They may change as we go. But Nick, I think it goes without saying, Duke and Auburn, God tier.
God tier. But the question here, Cody, is how do we want to order it? Duke beat Auburn. Auburn is having a season unlike anybody ever. So
Yeah,
how do you want to rationalize this? Because I can go either way, considering the fact that Auburn's loss is to Duke and how good Duke looks.
so I think I'm going to concede to your video that I watched on Instagram here, and Auburn might set the record for quad one wins.
Yeah,
and that is just absurd.
they might set it by enough to where it will never be broken again. That's what spawned me into action today. I was like, oh, I have to talk about this because Kansas has the record with 17 quad one wins. They did it 2 years ago. That's crazy. The Big 12 was nuts that year, right? 18 would be nuts. But that to me is like maybe the stars could align, it could be breakable. But if Auburn ends up with 20 out of their 34 games being quad one wins, and they played Duke, Houston, Iowa State, and Purdue, the leaders of all power conferences outside of the Big East. And then the SEC is the hardest conference in college basketball history. It's impossible for anyone to match them if they do end up with like 31 wins.
I do have the SEC being the hardest conference in college basketball history. I don't know if you saw this. Archie Miller in a press conference brought up a great point.
Okay.
The SEC is 500 since like January 8th. That's crazy, dude. And we're going to call them the best conference of all time?
Right. Yeah,
it's nuts.
It's nuts though, because the ACC is also 500 since conference play. So in reality, there's no difference between the SEC and the ACC is just as good as the SEC since January 4th.
Yeah.
So ACC truthers, pat yourself on the back. People that haven't seen that clip and don't really understand, just think about it a little more. I guess you should figure it out. We'll get it.
Use your thinking brains. You got it. We believe in you. All right, next tier, the contenders. I think we have to throw in the high level SEC teams here. I don't feel comfortable putting any other teams in God tier. I think we agree there, right?
Yeah, I would agree with that. Alabama's close.
I agree that Alabama's the closest.
But they're not God tier, and they are obviously a contender. So we can put them number one in the contender list in the sense that, like, if you were to tell me pick one of these three to win it all, Alabama, Duke, or Auburn, I don't view either of all of them are equally good bets in my opinion.
Yep. So I like Alabama. Let's throw up. I feel really comfortable putting Houston up there. I think Houston is now crazy loss to Texas Tech, but Texas Tech is playing some damn good basketball. So we'll throw Houston up there.
Yeah.
Who else do you feel comfortable throwing up here?
Yeah. Well, I think contender is an interesting word because there are some teams that technically are ranked high enough to be considered a contender, but haven't proved to me with their current coaching staff that they could actually cut down the nets. That's like a Tennessee.
Okay.
Who I would maybe have as a 1 seed right now, but are they a true contender? You don't know that for sure. I think Purdue is up there. I think Iowa State is up there, and I think Florida is up there in contender. Tennessee, I'm not sold on, but we can
Okay.
put them there for now and just revisit.
Yeah. So
But
we'll put
Purdue,
Tennessee up there
Iowa
for now.
State, Florida. I think all of them are absolutely contenders. Very, very good teams.
Yep.
But then
Oh my
after
God,
that, it's like, do you want Marquette, Michigan State, Kentucky in the contender tier? Do we think Kentucky can win it all?
I just don't like. There are some teams that I just don't see. I can't see. It's the confetti image, right? Can I see confetti coming down on this Mark Pope Kentucky team? And as much as I like them, I just can't do it. They're a great team. And I'm willing to put them in the great category. I just can't. Their defense, if they don't show up one night defensively, like they're toast. And like that's exactly what happened against Arkansas. Like that, I just can't. I can't put it all together. I can't put it all together. Was
What
there
about
any other team that I'm missing from contenders outside of Bama, Houston, Tennessee, Iowa State, and Florida?
Purdue? I would say Purdue, in my opinion, is the contender. I think they're playing good ball. Not only that, but they were in the national championship last year with Braden Smith, with Fletcher Lawyer, with Camden Heide and Kaufman Wren. A lot of guys that know how to win in March now after having lost to Farley Dickinson. So yeah, I think Purdue is a contender. I really do. Kentucky is, I would say, safe bet for the first team on the great list if we're putting Tennessee up there in contender. Now, Marquette, Michigan State,
I
and Texas A&M, we have to
yeah.
discuss.
Yep. I would put all those teams there. While we're talking about Purdue, did you see the end of that Purdue Indiana game?
I haven't watched, or no, I watched the highlights, but I watched it mid game, like we were playing Beerio Kart. So
Nice. Yeah, just insane coaching at the end by Mike Woodson to not call a timeout. Miles Rice crosses half court and then just like dribbles straight to the block and like throws up a like, oh fuck, he fouled me. And just a terrible shot. Didn't go anywhere close to the rim. They didn't call it. And then Purdue got the ball and that was game. Like it was just an insane, like Mike Woodson not calling a timeout there should get him fired. It was
yeah,
that
which
bad.
is it's hilarious because it's a week after the Maryland game where he like put in he had like 5 different substitutions and this timeout where he was drawing up a play, and then it was the most horrific thing I've ever seen in my life, and then they lost.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's gonna run that team into the dirt for sure. Okay, Kentucky, Michigan State, A&M, Marquette. The question is, these are great teams. This is probably going to be a pretty large tier.
Mm-hmm.
But like, so Kansas, in my opinion, isn't sneaky, right?
Yes.
So Kansas would have to be great because of
I
the
would
fact
agree.
that they aren't sneaky.
I would agree.
And I would say the same about a team like Arizona, who isn't sneaky because of, they started the season ranked very high. We might have to make
Let's
a
let's
tier
do we want to add a mid tier?
or just like standard, like yeah, good, like or like 6 seed. Just add like this team it has 6 seed vibes,
Yep, I like it. Six
right?
seed. We'll
Yeah,
put that
this
above
team is
sneaky.
right. So then we can move Kansas down to 6 seed, in my opinion,
I like that.
because they're
I like
playing
that.
like that. Arizona, I would say, is above, even though I have them as a 5. They are playing pretty good ball. Michigan is a 6 seed. St. John's is
St. John's. They're such on this close tier for me. Like they're
they
great.
could be sneaky
But
too, in the sense that it's like they're a sneaky contender.
I know, but they don't have like that's the thing because they don't have any like phenomenal wins. But like their resume is good enough.
They have 3 losses by 5 total points. They're
Yeah,
19-3. I think great for St.
I
John's.
I want to put them at great. I like that. Okay, Michigan is 6 seed. I feel like we
Illinois,
have to put 4 teams at the 6 seed just to be consistent.
Well, maybe there's a lot of teams playing like a 6 seed. We're
We
gonna
just
have
put like 12
I
teams
think
at the
there's gonna be
6
like,
seed.
yeah, 15. Illinois is definitely a 6 seed. Ole Miss is a 6 seed.
Yep, love it.
Missouri, I would put in sneaky, but if they would jump 6 seed into great. But right now they're still sneaky given the fact that no one expected them to be here.
Yep.
People aren't, you know what I mean? Like they
Yeah.
are like, whoa, Missouri, don't count them out kind of thing. Maryland, you can put into 6 seed.
What about Texas Tech? Do we want to put Texas Tech into, like, they could fit in all three of these categories? I think they could fit 6 seed. I think they could be sneaky. I think they could be great.
You could argue contender for them as well, but I think,
Wow. I
well,
think that's
just not resume wise, but if we're talking about they're 8th in the net, which
Mhm.
is that usually means you're a 2 seed. They are 9th in total efficiency on KenPom. So they're top 10 from an efficiency standpoint and top 10 in the net. They're 12th in BPI. They have the 17th best strength of record. The only problem is they don't have anything in the non-conference, and their one win is really that Houston win, and they beat Arizona. So I think
I know that
Texas Tech.
I believe it. I just don't like, I don't want to get caught up in the fact that they just beat
No,
Houston in overtime.
It's different because if we're doing bracketology and we're looking at their resume and we're saying where is Texas Tech seated? Probably a 5. And I can't really rationalize any higher. Maybe someone has them as a 4. Nobody has them above that. But they have the metrics and the eye test of a great team. So we have to give them the respect that they are a great team. Resumes are just weird. I'm going to make a video about that. I have the script right here.
I love it.
It's topical.
I love that. All right, let's get into some of the teams that had high expectations. Maybe they're not quite living up to it. UConn. We got to talk about the Huskies. Where are they at here?
Yeah, where is UConn here? I don't see
Right
them.
here. Okay. Because I'm going to be honest. Based on expectations, bad. Based on what I think they could do, maybe one of these here. But like I have no faith in this UConn team. I think if they weren't back-to-back national titles, I don't think they would be in the top 25.
Yeah, well, so they beat Marquette at Marquette, which we didn't talk about. That's just another, case in point. College basketball this past Saturday was incredible. If you didn't watch, what are you doing? But that alone, for me, puts them in the 6 seed tier. Like, they're probably a 7 right now. Doesn't matter. 6 seed tier is just the teams that are like, hey, these teams are good, but does it really matter that they're good? Because they're not gonna, like, they aren't threatening right now. What they're doing isn't daunting, but they're a good team. They're a very good team, capable of doing a lot of very good things.
Yep.
So UConn fits that mold pretty well.
Yep, I'll agree. I want to talk. Let's do what else we got. Start firing off a team you want to talk about, Nick.
Well, we can talk about Creighton if we want to do Big East.
Yeah, let's do Creighton because
Creighton started the year bad, right? Like they were like, just force feeding Kalkbrenner and losing a bunch of games, and their metrics were terrible. They dropped to like 70 in the net. Like it was really bad. They're going to miss the tournament. But now they've absolutely figured it out to the point that they are probably an 8 or a 9 seed right now and easily fighting for a Big East title. And sneaky's tough because of their sort of people know what they're going to get with Creighton right now because of McDermott and Kalkbrenner. Like the guy Stephen Ashworth's on that team still. So I think Creighton's a 6 seed as well.
Okay. I like it.
Yep. I think they're a 6 seed. They're not sneaky in that sense. If we want to find another sneaky team, I think New Mexico could go into sneaky.
I like that. I like New Mexico in the sneaky. They've been playing really good ball.
They beat Utah. They crushed Utah State. It pretty much solidified. I believe they're 8-2 against quads 1 and 2 right now. They might have a quad 4 loss, which is, you never want that, but sneaky for sure. Scroll back down. Let's see if we can find some more sneakies.
Yeah, let's.
I think Clemson is more sneaky than they are a 6 seed just because nobody watches them play.
Dude, they're people are going to be watching them play this week.
Yeah,
a huge matchup, and Dickie V on the call.
Dickie V on the call, which is euphoric. Dick Vitale in Little John Coliseum. If I was still a student there, I would do anything to go shake that man's hand. Legend. But yeah, Clemson, they're 19-4, 20-4. I don't remember. 10-1 in the ACC. They have, they beat Pitt at Pitt. They beat Kentucky, and they are unranked. And they've won like 9 of their last 10. They're unranked ahead of this Duke game. So that pretty much solidifies that they are sneaky. No one's really thinking about this Clemson team, just the way that they were sneaky last year. Nebraska, I think we probably have to put into the sneaky tier because they proved their sneakiness.
Yeah.
We should make a bubble tier.
All right, fine. Twist my arm. I'll add a tier.
Maybe, yeah. All right, yeah.
I didn't want to change the color of Sneaky. Sneaky was gray, and I liked it. Sneaky was gray. Bubble's going to be blue because obviously the bubble's blue.
So, but this, for anyone listening or watching, Nebraska is a bubble team, but we're going to put bubble teams that aren't necessarily coming off of very impressive wins that prove their sneakiness, a la New Mexico, a la Nebraska. Perfect example of a true bubble team, in my opinion, would be Ohio State. We could throw them in the bubble. For sure. And Wake Forest, for that matter. North Carolina, I wouldn't even put there. I would put North Carolina in bad.
North Carolina is bad, and I almost want to put North Carolina in ass because of the expectation of North Carolina.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, I would just say that they're bad, just given the expectation. Like if there was a true mid tier, maybe that would be North Carolina, or like, but North Carolina's not ass. But yes, obviously, bad is it's insulting enough for North Carolina fans to see their team in the bad tier.
Yep, I agree.
San Diego State we can put into bubble. You want to just do Boston College? Let's just put Boston College.
Yeah.
They're
Boston College.
Wizards. They're the Washington Wizards.
Yep.
It's a perfect spot for them.
Yep.
Let's see. Let's just go down, Cody. Let's just go down the line here. Minnesota.
Minnesota, not like they're like sneaky, but they're probably not a bubble team. They're probably bad.
Bubble. They're sneaky, but they're not sneaky. They're bad. They're a bad team. NC State, I would say, is ass, which sucks because they made the Final Four last year. Pitt is a true bubble team.
Yep.
True bubble. Yep. Syracuse is ass.
Yes.
Oklahoma State.
They're mega ass, dude.
Yeah,
they're mega ass.
They might be. Oklahoma State, I was going to say, is mega ass, but they might just be ass. They're not good.
Yep.
Let's see. Penn State. Oof. Are they bubble? They're probably technically bubble. Third in the net. Like they're not. Their expectation wasn't anything. Like Penn State could.
Yeah.
They would be like the last team in the bubble, but I don't want to say Penn State's bad. They're not a bad team.
That's fair. I'll agree with that.
Rutgers.
You know who? Rutgers. Here's the thing. Rutgers has Ace Bailey, and Holland, they're fun to watch. Harper. I was thinking Ron Holland. They have Dylan Harper. They're fun to watch, but they're not a good team.
Doesn't mean they're good. But they're not ass.
No, they're not ass.
If you're ass, you're not fun to watch, really. So Rutgers is bad. Princeton, I don't know why they're really even on here. Let's just not do those teams.
Yeah, we could skip some of these. We don't have to do everyone.
All right, Oklahoma.
Villanova, ass.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Maybe mega ass?
No, they're not mega ass. They honestly, Villanova, we have to put it ass just because of Kyle Neptune.
Yes.
And how, that's a blue blood that has just fallen off because their coach is gone. That shouldn't happen. They're going to lose their blue blood title or new blood title. But in reality, Villanova's realistically, they're bad, not ass, but we're putting them in ass because of Neptune. Oklahoma, undefeated in the non-con, and then obviously beat Vanderbilt by 40 points in the second half. So they, I think, are above bubble. I think you could argue that they're in the 6 seed tier, even though they're probably an 8 seed. I would probably put them in the 6 seed tier. I don't think they're sneaky per se because they're not that good.
I like it. What about Gonzaga? We have some West Coast teams: Gonzaga, Oregon, We need to talk about Baylor.
Sure. Gonzaga, another team akin to Texas Tech in my weird resume video, is third in strength of record and 11th in the net, and 11th on KenPom, but 50th in wins above bubble. So they have a resume of an 11 seed, but a net of a 3 seed, which is very
That's
strange.
insane.
I don't think we can put them in 6 seed right now. Oh, Gonzaga might need its own tier just because they're not sneaky and they're not a bubble team technically. You can just put like WTF or just Gonzaga.
Yep, we could put Gonzaga in the Gonzaga tier. I also think we could put St. Mary's in the Gonzaga tier.
Sure. Yeah, St. Mary's can go in the Gonzaga tier for sure. Next to UCLA on the left side.
My brain is fried. Yep.
Yeah,
St. Mary's
they
can
go in the Gonzaga
tier.
tier for sure. You know who else can go in the Gonzaga tier? I think we can maybe even put Oregon in the Gonzaga tier.
Ooh, I like that.
Because
I like that.
At this point, Oregon doesn't make any goddamn sense either because they keep losing and they keep playing bad and looking bad. But their resume is so good. They have the second most quad one wins. You can't call them sneaky because all of them are from the non-con, really. But yeah, they have the second most quad. It goes Auburn, Oregon, and then the rest of college basketball. If you're listing off quad one wins, so that to me is just like you belong in the Gonzaga tier.
Yeah, that's insane. All right, we have to do Baylor, Memphis for sure.
Yeah, Baylor. At this point, are they 6 seed? No, their resume is not good enough for 6 seed. Are they in Gonzaga tier? Probably.
Yeah. All right.
They're in Gonzaga tier. The teams that are just like, what is this team? Memphis is probably 6 seed tier.
Yep. Like it.
They have a really good resume, but they play in the American. So Oregon State is technically sneaky. We don't have to do them. They're in the WCC.
Yep.
Cincinnati.
Miami is Washington Wizards. We have to talk about Miami.
Yeah,
this is disgraceful. And the fact that Notre Dame lost to them, God damn it, Notre Dame. I remember when preseason
ranked, Power 5 team, lowest ranked.
Yeah. Remember when I thought Notre Dame had a chance to potentially be on the bubble this year? That was
wrong. I texted you. I said, well, I don't know about that, Cody. I think that let's lower those expectations, kiddo.
Yep. So we're going to put them at ass.
Ass. A lot of ACC teams are going to be in ass and mega ass.
Yep. Ooh, Virginia, mega ass.
I know, they're ass. They're just ass. They're a quad 2 team.
Man.
They're just ass. I mean, I
need more mega ass.
But who's mega ass?
Yeah.
Let's see. Well, scroll down for me. Colorado.
Florida State. They just fired.
Colorado's mega ass.
Florida State just fired Leonard Hamilton.
Yeah, they did.
Shocking.
South Carolina is probably just ass. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe we put Mississippi State in mega ass. I fucking hate that team.
Yep. All right. We need one ranked team to just be mega ass. And I'm fine with it being Mississippi State. After losing 80-61 to Missouri.
At home.
At home. That's a mega ass performance. We have to.
They've lost 4 of their last 5. They're mega ass. They're mega ass. Virginia Tech. That is a mega ass team. They're mega ass.
Yep, I like it.
And if you're a Virginia Tech fan, you have some ball players on that team. You're not the worst team I've ever seen, but you're mega ass. You admit it. Washington might be mega ass.
Yep. What about Indiana? Because Indiana
could be mega ass, dude.
Mike Woodson makes me want to say mega ass. Their roster makes me want to say bad. It's bad to mega ass, and it's solely based on coaching.
Nah, let's put them at mega ass because of Mike Woodson. Providence is.
Yep. A lot of Big East teams here.
Hall, we could put in the Wizards tier.
Yep.
They stink.
Tough for Seton Hall.
All right. Let's see. What do we have here?
We have Wisconsin, who's a top 25 team. We should probably talk about.
Yeah, there's a bunch of teams we have to seed off here. Wisconsin, I think we can put in the great tier.
Do you?
I think they're above a 6 seed right now, for sure.
Okay.
I do. I think they're.
I want to argue a little bit, but at the same time, I don't. Like they're a good team and they do feel a little bit different than the Wisconsin teams we've seen in the past, just because offensively they can keep up with some of the better, the better offensive teams in the country. And I like them. Like they're a fun watch.
They're different than old Wisconsin teams. Yes. Iowa, bad. I don't know. One of the two. Top right.
I'm gonna say bad, probably.
They don't probably just bad.
Yeah, they don't seem quite like ass.
Kansas State probably just bad. I mean, they just beat Iowa State, so we could put them in sneak.
Yeah,
but they're like not though.
But like, would they be in the tournament? Probably not.
No, they're certainly eliminated from the tournament.
Yeah, so you can't put them above bubble. It's like, you don't want to play them, but like,
they're a bad team that happens to also be clearly a little sneaky. We got to put Cincinnati somewhere. I would put them in ass. They were supposed to be good, but they're ass. Vanderbilt, bubble.
Love it.
Stanford's tough because they're like quasi bubble. Like if things go right, they'll be bubble, kind of like the Penn State play there. But in reality, like they're not bad. Like they have Maxime Reynaud, so maybe put them in bubble at the very end.
I was going to say, didn't they just beat Wake? Did they just beat Wake Forest?
They beat UNC, I know, at UNC, and they might have beat Wake. And they're good. They're not bad. But, like, I don't think they just got smoked by SMU, I believe. So, speaking of, SMU we can put in bubble above Stanford.
Okay.
The Stangs.
Bubble above Stanford. I'm good with that. Yeah, you can
move Penn State behind Vandy. Vandy should be ahead of Penn State.
Are there any teams screaming our name down here we got to talk about?
Texas is bubble, and they're a high bubble, like ahead of like maybe the first bubble.
Ooh.
Yeah, okay. I think they're.
Ohio State beat Texas though, so we got to put. I feel like I got to put Ohio State above Texas.
Did they?
Yeah, early non-conference.
Whoa! All right.
Ooh, Louisville. We have to talk about Louisville. Pat Kelsey. Shout out Pat Kelsey, man. I don't like Louisville growing up in the Rick Pitino Louisville. Louisville was always a huge deal. They were very good and they were always talked about. This Pat Kelsey team has not been talked about. And they kind of got made fun of for like Pat Kelsey walking around campus saying like, hey, you guys coming to the game Saturday? You coming to the game? Which like you shouldn't have to do at Louisville. But this Louisville team has been really fun to watch. And they're like very, very good.
Yeah, they are. I think you could put them in sneaky in the same sense that Missouri's in sneaky.
Mm-hmm.
In the sense that, like, Louisville obviously did great in the transfer portal, but then they lost Kashan Pryor. They lost someone else. And they had 8 wins last year and then 3 the year before. They weren't supposed to be this good, sort of like Missouri. So they're a sneaky team in that sense.
Yep.
UCLA, we can maybe put in I feel like we can put them in the Gonzaga tier.
Yeah, they went on that 4-game stretch where they just lost and like lost badly. And Mick Cronin was like going on these rants and like exploding on his team. But they bounced back from that. So like, I guess it works. Shout out Mick Cronin.
Like these teams, Gonzaga, St. Mary's, Oregon, Baylor, UCLA, they're all in. You don't know what you're going to get. They're also all very related to Gonzaga, which I find hilarious. Like,
yes,
UCLA always plays Gonzaga. Baylor, Gonzaga was the Natty. St. Mary's, obviously. Oregon, West Coast. So I like that tier a lot.
Yep, the Gonzaga tier is some of our finest work.
They're all safe, but they're not 6 seed. Even though Oregon is like a 4 seed right now because of their resume, but they're a Gonzaga. They're a Gonzaga tier.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Any other teams that we feel like we need to discuss? Otherwise, I feel good.
I'd like to put in as many as we can here. So BYU, we can throw in bubble. And hopefully you can like screenshot this and post it and we can, I'll accept the collab. But BYU is definitely a bubble team. Cal, you can put in ass, probably.
Yep. I'm good with that.
Utah, you can probably put in bad. They're bad. We can probably put TCU in bad or ass. It doesn't matter to me. Okay, then there's Xavier, who is a bubble team for sure.
I feel like Xavier normally has like 1 or 2 games every year that like go into overtime that like really draw you in, and they haven't had any this year. So I'm hoping that they come later in conference play.
Against St. John's is exactly what I'm talking about.
That is right.
Went
That
over.
is right. Yeah.
West Virginia is interesting. They scream Gonzaga tier to me.
They're so up and down, dude.
They
like
scream
they beat
Gonzaga team.
Kansas at Fog Allen, and then also have lost just some bad games.
Yeah,
Like,
no, they have 4 great. They beat Kansas. They beat, I think, Iowa State as well, and Arizona, and someone else really good. So yeah, but then they are like a 9 seed because they kind of stink a little bit. They're in the same. They're in the Gonzaga tier the way that Oregon's in the Gonzaga tier. Also, West Virginia Gonzaga, yeah, they've played in tournament.
Yeah, they played.
Oh yeah,
the tie-in with Gonzaga just stays.
They played this year. That's their other big win.
Yes, love it.
Perfect. Oh, it's brilliant.
Arkansas, Cal. We got to talk about Arkansas and Cal. They're bad. They're disappointing.
But they did just beat Kentucky. But are they a bubble team? I think they're a bubble team in the way that Stanford's a bubble team. I think that, or the way that Penn State's a bubble team. Like Arkansas is not eliminated from the tournament at all. That winning in Kentucky in that way, Coach Cal, homecoming, like that, the committee's going to see that. They're alive.
Have you seen the video of him walking out?
Yeah.
Like, it goes hard.
Sick.
It goes hard.
All right, what else? We have DePaul, who I want to put into, like, I kind of want to put them in sneaky, but they're not a bubble team, so we have to put them in bad. But they are not ass or mega ass. So good for you, DePaul.
Yeah.
USC is sneaky. Like, at this point, to me.
Fun fact, when I created this tier list, it already had some of these columns pre-generated. The very bottom was DePaul.
Yeah.
So,
right. So DePaul is no longer in that would be funny if it was still DePaul, but DePaul was just in the bad tier.
Should we change the Washington Wizards to DePaul?
I don't know. I do like that it's the Wizards. I think that's hilarious. But all right, Georgia, bubble. True bubble. One of the last teams in right now. Georgetown, bad. LSU, bad.
Oh my God.
The last one.
Oh, yep.
Georgia Tech, probably bad.
They lost to Notre Dame. They're ass.
Nah, but they just beat Louisville.
Fine.
Like, I think they were dealing with some injuries. Florida State, we can put in fucking ass the way that they lost to Boston College.
Yeah. And they just fired their head coach, so that checks out.
Arizona State is probably bubble, maybe bad.
Yeah, they're right in this.
I would put them in bubble
region.
Technically, they're bubble.
Okay.
And then Northwestern, we can put in bad, even though again they're not. Northwestern's not a bad team, but like neither is Iowa. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Is that it for the power teams? I think
yes, so. That is it for the power teams.
All right, that's our list, folks.
Yep. So, some things to note: God tier, Auburn and Duke. Mississippi State is in the mega ass. The Washington Wizards are Boston College, Miami, and Seton Hall. Nick's Clemson is sneaky. My Notre Dame is ass. And the Gonzaga tier makes the most sense out of anything on this list, actually.
Yeah, the Gonzaga tier is perfect.
Yep. And we have 9 teams in the 6 seed.
Yeah, the 6 seed tier is also perfect. All those teams are 6 seeds. And we'll just have to see who ends up being a 6 seed for real.
Yep. So if you're listening to the podcast version, by the time you listen to it, the graphic will be posted on our Instagram. So go check that out if you want to see it in all of its glory. Now, Nick, let's run through the game picks. I know that took a good amount of time, so we don't have to go into huge detail with these picks, but we got to make them, particularly the Tuesday games, 2 good Tuesday games this week. Marquette, St. John's. Nick, you're staring at me. Fine, I'll say it. You went 8-0 on your picks to start the week, and then you finished at 11-5. So cool, fucking congrats, dude. We get it. You know ball. You know college.
11-5. Really? Did I really?
Yeah. You started out 8-0. Your first page was completely flawless.
Yeah, which was awesome. I had to flex that, obviously. But that is a disappointing end. I know I got St. Mary's right.
Yes.
And I know we both got Texas Tech beating Houston right.
Yes, which, hey, ball knowers. Us.
Ball
Look
knowers.
at that.
Yeah, people were like, whoa, both of you taking them? And we were like, yeah, what's it to you?
Yep. Your misses Mississippi State, which is why they are in the mega ass.
Right.
Ole Miss, Kansas, Marquette, and Kentucky.
Oh, yeah, because I wanted to take Arkansas really bad.
You wanted to take it, and then I talked you out of it, and then I drug us both down together.
Yeah. Cool. Like
Perfect.
A good co-host does.
If I can't pick games correctly, I'm gonna at least make sure you don't either.
Yeah, but at least I clipped it because I was like, I need people to know that like this was a fuck it we ball game. Like, oh, Arkansas is gonna go into Rupp and win. They're gonna do it. And then I was like, fine, I'll take Kentucky. Fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so 11-5. How do you went 8-8? So 3-game lead already for me. Let's get into it. Marquette St. John 6:30. Both these games will be done by the time they hear anyone's listening. Yeah.
Yep. I'm gonna take St. John's at home. Marquette sliding a little bit, so give me St. John's here.
Okay. Definitely feel like St. John's is due for a loss, but they also need a big win. Can they get it? If they get it, it would be massive for them. Honestly, really tough one to start out with, but I'll start with Marquette, Cody. I'll start with Marquette. We'll start with a differing pick here.
Yeah. Ole Miss, Kentucky at Ole Miss. I think Kentucky has to bounce back, right? Like Kentucky has to bounce back.
Yeah.
I'm going to take Kentucky.
It's daunting. You know, the SEC is just an absolute gauntlet, right? Like you lose to Arkansas at home. That was supposed to be one of your easier wins, right? That's a quad 2 game. Now you go into quad 1 territory, quad 1A territory, playing Ole Miss. I don't know. This. Oh my gosh. I am going to go Ole Miss.
Love it. We're differing 2 for 2 so far. Wednesday, Oregon at Michigan. I think this is a really interesting matchup because I want to see how Oregon plays against Michigan's bigs. I kind of love Michigan in this game, like a substantial amount. Like I love Michigan in this game.
Oregon's doing what Wisconsin did last year, which is like, oh, they're a 3 seed, strong 2 or 3 seed after the non-con, and their resume is so good that they just keep losing these games. And people are like, well, Wisconsin surely they've lost 6 out of 7. They're probably out of the tournament. No, they're still a 4 seed. They're somehow. Oregon's just in the same sense that they could lose this Michigan game and they'll probably like be a 5, even though they keep losing. That'd be their 4th straight loss. So talk about bounce back. They need one, but I don't think they get it here. I'll go Michigan as well.
Yeah, this game, it's a 6:30 tip. That is 3:30 PST. Like this is an early ass game for Oregon. They got to travel to Michigan. I just don't love the fit there. Missouri at Tennessee. Man.
Missouri's playing really good, but to me this is easy. It's Tennessee.
I'm also taking Tennessee, but like this game, if Tennessee loses this game, I want to drop Tennessee out of the contenders.
Yeah.
Like I'll just say that.
They're hovering because I don't know if I actually believe they can win it all, but Tennessee in this spot, Missouri getting way too much hype. You're coming into Rocky Top, and you know Tennessee I think lost to Kentucky there recently. They lost another game at home. They're going to win this game. Tennessee's going to humble Missouri a little bit. I feel good about that. Maryland at Ohio State on Thursday. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I watched a lot of the Ohio State-Penn State game, and Ohio State dominated that game top to bottom. Maryland is a strong team, and when they're playing well, like I like their chances against anybody. But I kind of like this Ohio State team, so I'm going to go with the Buckeyes here.
I'm going Ohio State as well. Maryland got 2 straight road wins, like 10 days ago they did it. They're not a road team, though. I don't think they've changed their ways, per se. They can feel safe that they're in the tournament right now. This is a quad 1 game. You're going into Ohio State territory. I think Ohio State wins. They need to win more. They're a bubble team. Maryland's in the 6-seed tier, right?
Yep. Keeping it moving, we have St. Mary's at San Francisco. I put this game on here Not a lot of people are talking about it, but this game means a lot for the WCC, especially with St. Mary's beating Gonzaga. San Fran is second in the WCC. They get this game at home. I'm going to take San Francisco. I think St. Mary's coming off the high of beating Gonzaga. Give me San Fran here.
I mean, I like your logic. They played each other, I believe, a couple weeks ago, like 10 days ago. And I think St. Mary's dogged them, but they were at home. And as we know, right, Florida dogged Tennessee. And people were like, well, you fool. Tennessee's not going to beat Florida. Florida's clearly better. Not how the sport works. You can get dogged and then host the same team and dog them. It's just how it works. So I really like the logic, and I want to take St. Mary's just because, we're picking a lot of the same here in a row, but I'm going to go San Francisco.
Yep. Friday night, not a lot of great games on, but there's going to be one that is going to be must watch. It's Rick Pitino against Danny Hurley, St. John's at UConn, an incredible matchup. St. John's has two huge games this week. They play Marquette at home, and then they have to go at UConn. This is a Danny Hurley fuck you game. Give me UConn.
Yeah, I'm going to take St. John's here. This is the UConn can't. St. John's coming off a loss to Marquette is, if that happens, would lessen the absolute media push of this game. If St. John's beats Marquette, then this game will be talked about so aggressively leading up to it. But UConn does really well against the top of the top. But in those kind of whatever, they always, this year especially, every game's close. I can see this being an overtime game, and I can see Dan Hurley freaking out and something with the refs, blah, blah, blah. St. John's wins on the road. That St. John's staple win, booking them a tournament berth. They would be a lock with that win.
Yep. 8 o'clock Fox. That's going to be a good one. Saturday, awesome slate. Oregon at Michigan State. So this is the back half of the Michigan trip. They're going at Michigan early in the week, at Michigan State later in the week. Nick, if I picked Michigan on Wednesday and I picked Michigan State here, that would give Oregon 5 consecutive losses. So I'm not going to do it. I'm going to pick Oregon. At some point, Michigan State's inability to shoot threes has to bite them in the ass, right?
You would assume so, but like you said, this would be 9 a.m. for Oregon.
Yeah.
Noon tip. So pretty brutal in that sense. I'll say I'm going to pick Michigan State here just to kind of hedge my bet. Let's say Oregon does beat Michigan, then I feel really good about Michigan State. I don't think there's any way that Oregon wins both. So I'll just take Michigan and Michigan State, assuming one will win. Maybe both because of how bad Oregon's kind of been playing.
Yep, I don't think that's a bad way to look at that at all. Marquette at Creighton, 2 o'clock game. I like Marquette here. I think that they're due for a bounce back a little bit. And like you said, they've been playing good basketball as of late, but they have shown flashes of them being not great. And I just think Marquette's a little bit of a different class of team at the moment.
I agree with that. And we're kind of flip-flopping. You're going St. John's, then Marquette. I'm going Marquette, then St. John's. In that sense. So with me having Marquette beating St. John's, I will then have Creighton winning at home.
Love it. Saturday game. I don't expect this to be a great game, but I wanted to talk about it because it is the Sunflower Showdown. It's a really good rivalry game that at Kansas State, that gym is going to be electric. But Kansas at Kansas State, I'm picking Kansas here. Don't get me wrong. However, this is going to be a television that you need to have it turned to Kansas State, at least at some point during this game, because there's going to be
probably on ESPN Plus with the stupid Big 12 nonsense. You can never get your hopes up, but yeah, hopefully it's watchable. Hopefully.
Yeah, I will look right now because I just really need to know. But yeah, this is a game, this is a fuck shit game. There is going to be some fuck shit that happens in this game, and I cannot wait to watch it. So yeah, give me Kansas though.
I'll go Kansas as well. It feels like that'll be way too popular of an upset pick, given that Kansas State just beat Iowa State, and a lot of people are down on Kansas in the sense of they're just imploding. But
good news on ESPN, the main broadcast.
Good. That's good.
Yep. Texas A&M at Missouri. Two teams playing well, some absolute dogs. Texas A&M, that's Buzz Williams, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Ready Buzz,
I love like that team plays with
palpable Buzz.
is that a Rostinism?
It is.
God damn, they're so good, man. They're so good. Give me Texas A&M. The Rostinisms just, they hit every time.
Yeah, I want to take A&M too, but I'll go Missouri here. I really like this A&M team, but right now I have them as a 2 seed. Doesn't feel right. So surely they're going to drop one this week so that I can move them back down to where they belong in 3 seedville.
Yep. I love the thought there. Florida at Auburn is going to be scenes. It's the game of the weekend. I think this is the best game on the schedule. I'm going to use the same logic that I used last week with Auburn. I'm going to pick Auburn every single week. I'm going to pick them every single time. And you know what? God damn it, I might be wrong, but I'm going to be right 9 times out of 10. So I'm sticking with Auburn.
Yeah, no, I'm going to go Auburn too. I made a mistake. I picked Ole Miss. And Auburn just showed me that they are just too diverse. They can do everything so well. It doesn't matter what type of game they're playing. It can be a slugfest against Tennessee where they both barely get to 50 points. They'll win. Or it's 94 to 84 and they win. It doesn't matter. They're playing Florida at home. I mean, Florida could win. They could. Florida's so good. Do not be surprised if Florida wins this game. But you got to go Auburn right here. You just have to. They're on record watch.
Yep. Let's talk about your Duke Clemson matchup. We talked about this a little bit. Dickie V on the call that is appointment television for me. And
This
also
is the game of the ACC. It's the game of the ACC.
It also should be a good game. Like, I understand that Duke has been in another class. However, this Clemson team, they're good. They are legitimately a good football team.
Oh, I'm so excited for it. You know,
I just said football team. They're a good basketball team.
Yeah. You know, it's in Little John Coliseum. It's in Clemson, South Carolina. And given the state of the ACC and then the state of Clemson basketball of late, the palpable buzz, so to say, about Clemson basketball around campus exponentially increasing. We made the Elite Eight last year, and we have 4 losses this year, and we're 10-1 in the ACC. Every other game, we played Louisville on the road. We played Pitt on the road. We don't get those games at home. So this is bar none. SMU's on the road as well. So this is bar none the biggest game in the ACC for Clemson and for the entire ACC. So it's going to be insane there. Can't believe game day's not going. But then we also beat Kentucky, who beat Duke, right? And Kentucky, fast-paced team, shoots a lot of 3. Clemson slowed them down aggressively, held them to 66 points. Realistically, they could have been in the 50s. So I do believe that Clemson can win this game, and I'm going to take them, obviously, because I'm a Clemson fan. But it's not even that biased. This feels like, oh, Duke is bound to not go undefeated in the ACC. This is the literal only chance for them to lose a game.
Yeah, and this is like Duke does, like you said, they don't have a lot of tough spots on their schedule. I think this is a spot where they actually legitimately have a shot to lose. That being said, I just don't see it. I just don't see it here. Give me Duke in like a classic, awesome Dickie V call game, but I'm taking the Blue Devils.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're Clemson and you lose this game, whatever, you know, Duke is that good, luckily, that it's like a rare ACC game where you can lose and not have anything happen resume-wise.
Yep, the doors don't fall off here. Texas Tech at Arizona. This game should be a lot of fun. I think there are 2 teams that are playing well. I kind of want to take, I kind of like really want to take Arizona here just because I feel like they were talked about real early and then they sucked real early and people kind of forgot about them. This Arizona's team, still really good. Texas Tech has a lot of hype after beating Houston. I'm going to take Arizona here.
Yeah, I'm taking Arizona as well. Also, I believe Texas Tech beat Arizona already. So this feels, it's a revenge spot. I feel pretty good about it. All right.
Awesome.
I believe one more.
Yep. Let me, Nick, are we sure? Am I crazy?
Maybe not. Well, but maybe I am.
1,
No,
2, 3,
right.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yep. We got 2 more games left, Nick. Don't tell the people anything different. We have
Excuse me.
2 Sunday games, Rutgers at Maryland and Ohio State at Nebraska. Rutgers at Maryland, fun watch, early Sunday. Give me Maryland, but this is going to be a fun game. Like this is going to be a fun, not your typical Big Ten basketball game.
Well, this is maybe the people's best chance in a while to actually like just tune in on a lazy Sunday and watch Ace Bailey go to work, because that kid is unbelievable. He's going to torch Maryland because he tortures everyone. Doesn't matter though, because Rutgers as a whole is pretty bad, and it's a team sport. So yes, I'm going Maryland as well. And then lastly, we have Ohio State, Nebraska, which is very, very hard to pick.
Yeah, I feel like I have to go Nebraska because I picked Ohio State earlier, but against Maryland, I'm going to do it. Nebraska. Give me Nebraska.
All right,
Nebraska.
I'll YOLO and Ohio State here. YOLO.
Love it. Love it.
Switch up on that. All right, cool.
Yep. And then that will be a beautiful, I love the way college basketball is set up on Sunday, because you have noon tip, Rutgers, Maryland, and then you have Ohio State, Nebraska. And then that gives you right in a perfect position to just get ready for the Super Bowl. And I'm very, very, very excited for that. We don't talk a lot of NFL on this podcast, but Nick, I want your Super Bowl prediction real quick.
I'll predict the Chiefs win. My rationale might be hoping for a jinx, hoping that if I finally root for the Chiefs, maybe they'll actually lose, but I'll pick the Chiefs.
I'm in the same boat. There's a certain amount of money that I would pay to watch the Chiefs lose. And what I will do is just put that on Chiefs money line. And then if they win, it's like, I made the money. And if they lose, I'm going to say that I contributed by putting my hard-earned money on the Chiefs, and then they lost.
That's exactly where I'm at mentally. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Looking forward to it. But as always, first off, 2 things. If you made it this far in the podcast, thank you. We love you. Secondly, if you guys liked the tier ranking, it's a little bit of a different style, but let us know what your thoughts, good, bad, ugly. You could tweet at me. You can comment it on the podcast, leave a review, comment on the YouTube, whatever your thoughts. We appreciate it, and we will see you in the next one.
Adios.
Peace.
Peace out.